Yeah, what did you want to talk about? Ask
Well,
yourself.
I'll address what you just said. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to have a good faith conversation.
Oh, really? Oh,
But
really? That's new.
as well,
Huh.
I don't think it's new, but I do think it should go
Okay.
both ways.
Oh, yeah, well, Jay and I, when we had our conversation with you before, it was always in good faith, right? But you tried to poison the well right off the bat and destroy the ability to even have a debate about the topic that we were discussing. So I think that you weren't acting in good faith at all, and I think it was abundantly clear. And the fact that you're so butthurt for the last 2 years, obsessively trying to get some rematch and get this vindication, I think that kind of shows that you did have sort of a narcissistic wound, and you've been obsessing over Jay, stalking him for like 2 years now. And he didn't want to have you. He didn't want to debate you again. He was like, "Dude, if Ask Yourself comes on, because we knew you were gonna do it. We saw that. We saw your little puppet. What's his?
What? Come on your show?
You know, we knew you were gonna be the one from like 5 days before that. What's his face? Lifting Vegan Logic. We knew that it was gonna be you because of the way he was like typing his little arguments. We could tell that you'd been talking to him. So it's like, okay, he's gonna bring Ask Yourself.
Poisoning his mind with my
No, no, it's not poisoning
wisdom.
his mind. You could just tell that you're trying to use him to get in and actually try and just have the, as you call it, good faith conversation with Jay and I. But hey, if it is a good faith conversation, it's a good faith conversation, and that's fine. You know, we don't have to. We can just forget about the past and have a conversation. That's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I'll say is that I disagree with your characterization there, but I have a feeling you'll really want to really defend that. So if I press on it, that will become the conversation, right?
Oh,
And
that's
that
it is what it
probably
is.
what
People
something
people
neither
can
of
go
us are
back.
interested
People
in.
can go back and look. It is it.
Yeah, I would encourage them to, absolutely.
Yeah, me too. So what do you want to talk about, man? What do you want, Isaac?
Well, so on the last stream, where I mean, I thought that I was coming on to debate, whatever. If there's a miscommunication, that's fine. That's the vibe I got
No,
from the LDL.
he never told me it was you coming on, and it was pretty clear that you weren't welcome on. Especially Jay doesn't want to debate you again. He thinks you're a
Okay.
weirdo, and he's sick of you stalking him. But I blocked you on a few platforms, so you couldn't stalk me anymore. So it's okay. You don't annoy me
think
that much.
Stalking is quite the take, but anyway, let's just talk about the topic, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I heard you say on that stream, or what I heard Jay say, was that the trait that differentiates animals from humans.
On what stream?
such that
Oh, wait,
it's
what
okay-
stream? If you have a question or if you have a proposition, you can make an argument, but you can't characterize myself or Jay. Jay's not even here. I'm not sure why you're still talking about
I'm
Jay.
just going to quote him verbatim. You can tell me if the
I'm
quote's
not
wrong,
debating. We're not debating about Jay. If you have an argument to bring with myself, or there's also Father Deacon Dr.
but- Well,
Ananias here.
if you'd let me complete the sentence, it'd be good.
You can't. No, but if you're going to
So-
make my argument for me, that's not how it works. I haven't made an argument. You're the one who's
No,
here to
but
argue. Do
I'm
you have an
gonna-
argument?
Just like you can do, I'm going to ask, is that your position?
What position?
And then if it is, then I have something to say to it. So what I heard Jay say in the last conversation that you guys had, the stream that I thought was going to be a debate, was that the trait that differentiates animals from humans, such that it's ethical to murder the one but not the other, although he didn't use the word murder, but that's what I take it to be.
What is murder?
I
What is
think- I
murder?
believe- I
Define
believe he
murder.
said-
Excuse me. First of all, you have to define murder.
We
If we're
can-
gonna have a
we
good
can- we
faith
can-
debate, if we're gonna have a good,
I'm happy to say kill in the context that we're currently.
if we're gonna have a good faith
Right.
debate, we have to be able to just. We have to be able.
Tristan,
Hey, stop
can I-
talking for a
can I get
second.
through the- I
No,
wanna-
no,
I
no.
do
Shut
wanna
the
get through
fuck up
sentence.
for a second. If we're gonna have a good faith
So,
debate, if we're gonna have a
we
good
can,
faith
but
debate,
can I complete
we
the
have to
sentence?
be able to define the terms that we're debating. And we have to come to an agreement on
Okay.
what these terms mean. So if you say murder, murder is the
You're using the
unlawful killing of humans.
One sec. No, we don't need. But if you keep abusing the mute, we can't have.
No, this is my stream,
So-
you idiot. You're coming on to talk to me, so it's
Now-
not. This is not a neutral
Okay,
ground. You're coming to talk to
now-
me.
Now,
Go ahead.
okay. So right. Okay. So
Okay.
what I heard
Okay.
is that the
Yeah.
thing that makes it ethical.
Yeah.
Well, you're starting to get triggered already. I
No,
can
no,
see
I'm not
it.
triggered. It's just you don't
Are you
speak in
gonna let
good
me get through
faith.
the argument, Tristan?
How long are you going to take to make an argument? You're trying to make my argument for
Yeah.
me. What is my argument?
No, I'm trying to characterize what I take the position to be, ask you if you hold it, and then raise an issue with it. So what I heard Jay say, so the thing that makes the
Jay's
moral
not
difference,
here. Jay's not here. What is this?
That's why I'm asking you.
What does this have to do
just
with
like I
Jay?
said a second ago? Just like I said a second ago, that's why I'm asking you if you hold the position, right? I heard him say that the thing that makes the moral difference is having a soul. Do you take that view?
What are you talking about? What is your argument?
That's just a question right now.
Do humans have a soul? You're asking me if I believe that humans have a soul.
I wasn't asking if you believe they have a soul. I'm asking if you think that having a soul is the thing that differentiates animals and humans morally, such that it's okay to stab the one in the throat and not the other.
What's the question?
I'm asking if you think that
in Hawaii.
Well, right now I'm just trying to understand what the position is.
What position? You say you want to come debate.
Your position.
My position on what?
Your position, Tristan. I'm talking to you.
My position on what?
Your position on the question I just asked, which is, do you take the view that the thing that differentiates animals from humans morally, such that it's okay to stab one in the throat but not the other, is having a soul?
Well, I would say that.
I wasn't asking you.
No, he's here, and you're coming to talk.
I can debate you both, but I was curious what Tristan's view is.
Dude, this is a stream, dude. This is not a formal debate, dork. If you want to talk. Don't be a spurg.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Do you want to actually have a conversation, or you just want to play stupid games?
If Tristan wants to leave you to defend the view, that's
no.
Fine.
He's been here the whole. He's been here. He was here before you came, dude. Do you have?
I don't think that changes what I just said. You don't have to keep your mouth shut. If Tristan doesn't want to defend the view, then I'm happy to have you do it. But if Tristan wants to, I'd be curious what he has to say.
I know the view that Tristan holds, and Joe.
Well, I would like to know if he actually holds it.
No. You're trying to make an argument for me. What is your question?
I haven't even made an argument yet. I'm just asking you if you hold the view. I'm asking you, do you take the view?
If I take a view that human beings have souls.
Tristan, you have to speak to me, and then I'll speak. How funny would that be? So Isaac, you can't speak to Tristan. You have to speak to me. And then on the stream, I'll relay the message to Tristan. And then Tristan, you relay the message to me, and I'll give it to you.
Wait. Like Isaac, let me tell you what your position is, and then I will argue with what I tell you.
This is bad faith, though.
No. Bad faith.
The question.
What are you arguing?
You're just not answering.
You're asking me what my argument
is. Tristan.
What are you asking me again?
So for the fourth time, I'm asking you, do you hold the view
that human beings have a soul?
No, that's not the question. That the thing that distinguishes humans from animals morally, such that it's ethical, it's okay to stab the one in the throat, but not the other, is having a soul. I'm asking if the soul makes the moral difference, so you can stab one and not the other. That's the question.
If you want to have a conversation, all right. So good question. If you want to have a conversation about morality and ethics, Isaac, we're going to have to talk about where we derive morality. No. Are you going to shut up? Are you going to shut up and let me speak? Look, you're on my channel. Here. Look, if you want to have a conversation about morality, if you want to have a look. You asked me a question. And I'm answering your question. Shut up and let me answer your question.
I didn't hear the answer.
Shut up and let me answer your question. You see, this is what you do. You don't respond in good faith. You want to play yes or no games.
You're dodging.
Listen. You can shut up and you can let me speak if you want to talk to me on my stream, dork.
You can talk.
Listen, Isaac. Listen, Isaac. Do you want to get kicked again, dude? Do you want to continue the conversation? Listen, Isaac. Listen. This is why people don't debate you. You fucking dork. This is why people don't debate you. You pathetic spurg. Because you don't debate in good faith. You ask me a question. And I will respond to you, and you will listen to me.
Before I supplemented,
so you stop unmuting yourself. You're muted.
Like these people
if you don't, right, let's wait for your. All right. So Dr. Greger, just keep quiet for a second. Stop speaking. Stop interrupting me. You came on my stream. I allowed you on here. You just sit there and you listen. Okay? Do you understand?
Oh, I'm happy to. As long.
Hey Spurg. Listen. I'll kick you if you don't listen. You're not here to play. This is what. All right. I will. If you interrupt one more time, you're gonna get kicked out. Do you understand? You know what it kind of reminds me of? I
understand.
No offense, Isaac. It kind of reminds me of, remember, like, we'd be arguing with our parents growing up.
Not interested, Tristan. Go ahead. I want to hear Tristan. Let's see how he's not answering.
You're on my stream, you dork. You're on my stream, you dork. You're on my stream.
Does the audience see he's not answering? Does the audience see he's not?
Listen
He's
to this
dodging.
spurg. Look at this spurg.
He's just dodging.
He's just dodging. He's just dodging.
Let's
Shut.
hear the answer.
Hey, Isaac, shut your fucking mouth for 2 minutes. You're on my stream, you dork. All right, you interrupt one more time and I will kick you off. Do you understand? Do you understand? Your question is, hey, shut the fuck up. Your question is, what is the trait? Name the trait that makes it okay for a human being to kill another. You're trying to.
That's not. No.
You want to have you want to talk about morality, right? You want to talk about morality?
That wasn't the question.
That's my question. Do you want to talk about morality?
So you're not answering mine.
Do you want to talk about morality?
Wait, are you going to answer or not?
This is what he does. You guys want to see, this is how Isaac debates. He comes on and he wants to play his little spur. He wants to play this little spur game of answer the question. Answer the question. Isaac, shut up for a second.
Do you think?
All right. Anyways, Isaac, nobody can hear you right now. Nobody can hear you on the stream. Now I'm going to speak, okay? I don't even have to mute you. I just have to turn off the speaker so nobody can hear you. We can just see you with your cute little spaceman suit writhing around there all uncomfortable. Now, you're going to hear me speak, Isaac. You are dodging, Isaac. My question to you is, if you want to speak about morality and ethics, if you want to ask about morality, if you want to have a conversation about what is moral, we have to come to certain agreements on what these things mean. What is morality? What is ethics? We need to understand, we have a mutual understanding of what is morality, what is ethics, what is right and wrong, and where do we derive right and wrong from? So my question to you is, how do we know what is morally right and wrong? How do we know what is good and bad, morally right and wrong? You're asking me to justify a moral action. I'm asking you if you believe that morality is objective or subjective. And then we can move on to get deeper into the morality and ethics and the ethical questions and the quandaries that you have. So is morality objective or subjective? And how do we know what is morally right and wrong? Now, I'm going to turn the sound up and I'll be able to hear you. Go ahead.
What I would say, Tristan, is that here's how I view a debate, okay? If someone asks...
No, I'm asking you, is morality subjective or objective?
Tristan...
Isaac,
I'm going to say the same thing as long as
I know you are. You're going to say the fact. You're going to say the same thing. Go ahead and speak. Is morality objective or subjective?
Okay, so in a debate, I think that if someone asks a question, the other party ought answer.
You think they ought? Wait. Why should they ought? Why should the other party ought answer?
Now there are.
Why? That's a moral. That's a moral statement you just made.
Not to answer. And those conditions would be, for example, if they didn't understand the question, that would be one instance. Mm-hmm. So
you're not going to answer my question?
Understanding the question. No, I asked first. You have trouble understanding the question.
No, I don't have trouble understanding your question.
Okay. So
do you have trouble understanding my question? What is morality?
I understand exactly what you're asking, but you're dodging my question, which is why I'm not
What is morality, dude? You're asking me if something is morally justified. You're asking me if something is morally justified. Nobody can hear you now, Isaac. You're asking me if something is morally justified. I'm asking you to define morality, please. My question is, what is morality? And how do we know what is morally right and wrong? Okay? Go ahead. What is morality?
Okay.
What is morality?
Tristan, I'm just going to wait for you to answer the question.
This is how you debate? This is what you want to do? This is why people laugh at you and say you're a fucking joke spurg, Isaac. Do you understand this? This is why we think you're pathetic. What is morality? And how do we determine what is morally right and wrong? You're asking me a moral question. You're saying I ought to do something. How do you derive an ought without morality?
And by the way, Isaac, he doesn't have to...
Now,
Tristan, he doesn't have to answer the question.
Answer the question.
Go ahead.
He doesn't have to answer the question because...
Have you ever seen a debate, Isaac?
In order to answer the question, you have to get to a more fundamental level of what is morality and ethics. So,
exactly.
We'll let you then ask you.
Sorry, what's your name? What's your name? Dr.
Hey, you're on my channel. Listen, Isaac, you came on my channel. You can't answer a simple question. I'm asking you. You're asking me a question about morality and ethics, and you're saying you want to talk about ethics and morality. What is ethics and morality? How do we determine what is morally right and wrong? You just said I ought to answer your question, which implies that there is a moral imperative for me to answer your question. I'm asking you, how do we know what we ought to do? How do we know what is morally imperative and what we ought to do? So go ahead and answer.
Dodging.
Go ahead and answer.
Dodging. Will you answer?
Excuse me?
He doesn't have to answer the question.
Sorry, you're just dodging.
No, we need to
answer the question.
Isaac, we need to clear up the basic framework for this debate. We need to be able to talk about the framework, and to move forward, we have to be able to discuss these things. So if you say you want to debate in good faith, yet you come on here and nobody can hear you, Isaac. I don't know if you realize nobody can hear you. No one can hear you, Isaac. Isaac, you're talking to nobody. Nobody can hear you. So anyways, if you want to go ahead and answer my question, I will answer your question, and you must answer my question as well. So you can. I know it's really hard for you to stop speaking, but nobody can hear you on the stream. You're speaking into a mirror, faggot. Nobody hears you. Nobody hears you, dude. I know you just think that if you just keep blabbering that you think you can make yourself feel like you win a debate. But nobody hears your screams here, Isaac. In the Primal Edge channel, no one hears your screams. You are screaming into the void, Isaac.
Happens, right? Now, Tristan, do you want to answer the question?
Tristan, do you want to answer the... Listen, Isaac, when you're in a debate,
Tristan,
it is perfectly... Listen, so in a debate, Isaac, I don't know if you realize, Mr. Spurg, when you're in a debate, you can answer a question with a question. And if somebody asks you a question, you can clarify yes, do you not understand that? You cannot answer a question with a question? Oh, is that funny to you, Isaac? Is that so funny to you? Okay, so again, nobody hears you right now, Isaac. Nobody hears you, Spurg. I know you have a really hard time shutting the fuck up for a few minutes and just hearing and just listening. I know you love the sound of your own little soyum voice, Isaac. I know you love the sound of your own voice, Isaac. Okay, so listen, you asked the question, you asked your name the trait. Yes. You asked the question, you asked name the trait. My question to you is, there are so many assumptions built into your name the trait question. First of all, morality, shoulds and oughts. What makes it okay to do this? What makes anything okay? Right? Is there such thing as objective morality? You're over here trying to ask me objective moral questions about what is right and wrong. So we need to understand, do you believe morality is objective or subjective? That is the question. We have to agree on basic fundamental principles before we can move forward in good faith. This is the nature of the debate. And this is actually why the West is so fucked, right? Because people have no idea, people like you have no idea, trans activists like you have no idea how to answer simple questions about where morality comes from, what morality is, and is there even right and wrong? So please, answer the question, is there right and wrong, and is morality subjective or objective?
It's so funny, because I'd love to talk about all that, but I just on principle won't until you answer the question.
Oh, you just on principle won't?
All of that afterwards, right?
Okay, so the trait is, Isaac...
I didn't ask what the trait... Tristan,
what is your... See, this is what... You come on my stream and you want me to answer a yes or no question, and that's all you want, a yes or no question. And then if I answer your yes or no question, you think that you can map this out and somehow win a fake debate that you framed. This is a conversation about ethics and morality, dude. This is a conversation about ethics and morality. If you're not going to answer the basic question, you're just going to get kicked. What is morality? How do we know what is morally right and wrong? And will you please, in good faith, actually have a conversation? Nobody can hear you. Okay, so I remember when we first started this conversation, somebody in the chat was complaining, oh, you're being so mean, let Isaac on. I let you on, dude. And you can't have a human conversation in good faith. You can't have a real human conversation. You just malfunction like a robot. Please answer my question, which is my response to your question. What is morality, and how do we know what is morally right and wrong? If you want to have a debate about ethics and morality, we have to talk about how we know what is ethically and morally right or wrong.
You listening now, Tristan?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the answer. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm happy to talk about meta-ethics once you answer my question. Do you want to affirm if that's your position, or are you just going to refuse to clarify?
No, I'm not affirming any. I'm not going to let you determine my position. My position on what, dude?
Look, if you just admit you won't answer, then I'll talk to you about meta-ethics. If you admit that you will not answer the question.
You are so fucking weird, dude. You're so fucking weird.
Why don't you just admit it? Just say, I won't answer your question.
I just answered your question. I answer your question with a question.
That's not an answer. A question isn't an answer to a question.
I'm not required to give you an answer, dude. I'm not required to give you an answer.
I won't answer.
I just told you I'm not. I told you 50 times I'm not required to answer your dumb question.
It sounds like you said that you. At one point, it sounds like you said that you answered.
Listen, Isaac.
Then it sounds like you said you don't have to answer. Did you answer or not?
I don't have to answer your question, dude. Why would I have?
Okay, so just to be clear, and then I'm happy to talk about meta-ethics.
Good. We can finally get to step one. We can finally open the door to actually have a discussion now.
Let me just to be clear.
Hey, Isaac.
So I'm happy now. One second.
No. You shut the fuck up and let him speak. Shut up and let him speak. All right, go ahead.
Tristan doesn't have to answer that question because he perceives that it's a loaded question. Because let's suppose, for the sake of the argument, he is going to answer, it is because of soul, but that is not a clear term. What soul means? Animal soul, human soul, within what paradigm? In order to answer that, he can move to the next question to ask about meta-ethics.
It's hilarious.
That's hilarious. What's hilarious? Hold on. What's hilarious? What is hilarious?
I know it's funny.
What is funny? What is funny?
Sorry, I'm waiting. Is he done talking?
You don't have to answer a loaded
question. Sorry, what? Just one sec, Avi. Okay. Sorry,
so you're not even.
I wasn't capturing.
Okay, so Isaac, do you want to have a discussion or not, dude? Are you going to actually discuss?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is morality?
Just to be clear.
No. What is?
I'm happy.
What is morality?
I'm happy to talk about
what is morality and what is ethics? Isaac, what is morality and ethics? You're muted again and nobody can hear you. I know you think that if you just keep talking over somebody, that you somehow win a debate. The fact that you're so obsessed with coming on here, the fact that you want to rerun this over and over again and try to make it to where you don't have to answer simple questions about your worldview. I know if you think if you just laugh and smirk into a camera that you somehow seem intelligent. But you're not, nobody hears you. You like talking into the void. This is what you do. You're a coomer who cooms into the void all day long. And you come over here and you act like you want to have a discussion, but you can't even get to square one of how we start a discussion and debate about morality and ethics. So if you want to actually discuss this, you can stay and discuss, but you have to stop doing the circles, coomer boy. Stop going in circles.
I can engage with him if he wants to, but I'm just going to get him to just admit before he does that he hasn't actually answered. Okay, wait, he stopped talking. Tristan, if you admit
the fact, dude.
Sorry, you want to talk meta-ethics, right? I'm happy to do that if you want to just admit that you will not answer the question. Then
how many times did I tell you? How many times did I tell you I'm not answering the question until we talk about the basics of ethics and morality?
You won't answer the question.
Oh, right. There you go. You think you got what you want. Do you understand how disingenuous?
Yeah. Just to be clear.
A loaded question.
Now.
Okay.
Oh. So now, if you want to talk about meta-ethics, that's fine. We can do that. But I just wanted to be.
I'm
totally
asking
clear
you.
I just
Isaac.
want to be totally clear that you won't. You won't actually address the critique.
All right. No. I will address the critique. You won't. I will address the critique, and you won't even. You don't even have. Look at this. You pretend like you want to debate in good faith. Yet you come and you do this again. I cannot fucking believe how long I spent talking to you, and you can't even answer a simple question. What is morality, dude? What is morality?
Yeah, it's funny. See, the funny thing is I know they can hear me because the other guy goes, "Who's Avi?" So I know they can hear me, right?
No, he can hear me, but I can't.
Tristan, if you want to ask your question, you can go ahead. You made it clear you won't answer the critique. That's fine.
No.
What's your question about med ethics? I'll field all your questions before.
What is morality? What is morality? How do we know what is morally right and wrong? First of all, though, is morality objective or subjective?
The first question is a bit easier. Do you mind if I address the first question?
My first question is, morality is it objective or is it subjective? What is morality?
Well, that question I need to respond to by knowing what we mean by morality. The first question, if I clarify that, will make it easier.
Yes.
When you ask, what is morality?
What is morality, buddy?
Right. So I don't know what morality would really be if it's not just about our desires. Are you unhappy with that kind of construal? I take a statement like X
desires.
is wrong to just mean... Sorry, do you want to hear my answer? I take a statement like X is wrong,
clarify
it's wrong to rape a baby. That's what I'm doing. I take a statement like X is wrong or it's wrong to rape a baby to more or less just be some kind of expression.
Hey, how about you use a little bit more YouTube-friendly terms, except for talking about raping babies? I know you Spurgs like to talk about you're disgusting.
Sure, that's fine. That's fine.
Say kill or murder or something.
Okay. That's okay.
I know you and vegan gays like to talk about these things a lot.
Now. Okay, so if someone says it's wrong to, murder or it's wrong to steal or whatever it is they're saying, I take that to be in some way or another an expression of what their desires are, what their preferences are. Now, do you disagree with that kind of view on morality?
Yeah, that's retarded.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you take morality to be, Tristan?
First of all, you have to answer the question, is morality objective or subjective?
So the sense in which I would say it's subjective is that desires are subjective experiences.
Is truth subjective or objective?
Probably depends what we mean by truth.
Why did it take us so long to be able to just get to this point? Why did you have to spend 30 minutes acting like a disingenuous Spurg to get to this point?
I'd be happy to answer that. So I just thought that I'd make it really clear for a good, half hour that you refuse to actually deal with a critique of your view. I'll deal with some of your. I
haven't even defined my view. I haven't even stated my view, dork. You're so You're so disingenuous.
You wouldn't answer the question of if that is your view. You won't even clarify what
my view is. No, whatever your characterization of my view is incorrect. I'm asking you: is morality subjective or objective? Hold on. Is truth subjective? Is truth objective or subjective?
It probably depends what we mean by truth. I don't really have strong views on truth theories.
Do you believe that objective truth exists?
Depends what we mean by objective truth, like some kind of mind-independent truth.
Is there truth that exists outside of your perception and your mind?
What do you mean by truth?
What do you mean by truth?
Yeah, what do you mean by truth?
What do you mean by morality? What do you mean by right or wrong? When you
I told you what I mean by morality.
What is it again? What's your definition of morality? It's just your personal preference?
Yeah, I just take it to be statements about our desires.
Okay,
what do you take it to be?
Morality is your personal...
I answered a few of your questions. What do you take morality to be, Tristan?
No, I'm asking, you're the one who's making a moral argument. I don't give a shit. You're saying I should be vegan.
One second.
You're saying I should be vegan.
Tristan,
hold on. You're saying I should be vegan. You're coming over here arguing for a vegan worldview. I'm asking you, is morality subjective or objective? You say it's subjective. I'm asking you, is truth objective or subjective? You asked me to define truth, right? Is that what you're saying?
Man, it's very difficult to talk to you.
You're not talking to me. That's the problem. You're not talking to anybody. You're talking to a mirror. Ask yourself, right? You talk to a mirror. You don't talk to people. You're an algorithm, and you talk to mirrors. Okay?
Oh, it's so brutal. This guy just won't defend his view. I don't know what to do about it.
Okay, can I ask?
Are you back now, Tristan? Are you?
Hold on. Father Deacon Ananias has a question for you. Deacon Dr. Ananias.
Why don't we just let's try talking to this guy, Father Deacon, for a minute? Because I honestly it's hopeless to try to interact with him. There's no way to get an answer out of you.
No. Ask yourself.
I assume that this guy.
You keep saying. ask yourself. Nobody can hear you, by the way. Nobody can hear you. Father Deacon Ananias can probably hear you spouting on and on and on. But nobody on the channel can hear you. I know you're over there in your echo chamber talking to your Spurg army of Coomer Spurgs. Okay, so, hey, Coomer King, sit back there in your gamer chair for a second. Pull your hands out of your pants. Pull your hands out your pants, Coomer King, for one moment. Okay? You say that morality is subjective. You say that truth is subjective, right? But you don't even, you can't hear. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point of talking to you?
Right. When you mute me, I just start talking to Avi. If you want to have a good faith, I expect not to just be muted. When I see the mute go off, I just start talking to Avi.
So what is your point? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, if I get to set the topic, I'd like to ask the question that I initially asked.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Hold
on.
You
want to answer that? Yeah. You want to answer?
Okay. We already told you answered the question. I told you that's a disingenuous question, and I answered your question with a question.
What's disingenuous about? No.
Everything about you is disingenuous, Isaac. What's disingenuous? Everything about your spurgy, faggy little life is disingenuous, dude. Do you have? Hello. Hi, Isaac. Hi. All right. So, anyways, should we just kick him? I don't know. Father Deacon Ananias has a lot of patience here. What is your?
I'm happy to talk to Father Deacon. I initially didn't want to, but talking to you is very hopeless. So, Father Deacon, yes. I assume you're also you're Christian, like this guy, precept Christian.
No, you're making all sorts of assumptions that nobody has agreed to, and you want to debate straw men.
I'm asking a question.
You want to debate straw men. Will you let us speak, Isaac? I can't believe this, dude. I can't believe this. Go ahead, Father Deacon Ananias.
Yeah, do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to chime in?
Yeah, please do.
So let's just set a kind of common understanding of what we mean by morality is correct human behavior.
Sorry, Father Deacon, if you're talking now, what are?
No, go ahead, Father Deacon. Go ahead. Keep.
No,
hey, Isaac, he's already been talking. So shut up and listen. Hey, shut up and listen, Isaac. Shut up and listen for once.
No, I think.
Shut up and listen. No, you can't
ask a question here.
You can't listen.
So, Father Deacon,
you wonder why, Isaac. You wonder why. Hold on. Nobody can hear you except in your own Discord echo chamber, faggot. Hey, you want to listen? Do you want to listen? Do you want to actually listen and have a conversation?
Sorry, go ahead and answer.
Kind of standard run-of-the-mill notion of morality and ethics.
Sorry, Deacon, I asked you a question there.
So,
Deacon, wait, don't just answer the question first. You're a precept Christian like Tristan?
Or you're a precept Christian? Or let me just straw man. Let me just go ahead and straw man you. Let me just go ahead and straw man you.
I'm asking him if that's his view. Tristan,
dude, you actually think that you're winning debates when you do these games? Do you actually think this is a way to win debates?
Tristan, you know full well if you let go of that, you'll just right. Right.
I'm Eastern Orthodox clergy, so I don't want to be lumped in. I'm just a Christian. I'm actually.
Yeah, you're not.
Hey, stop interrupting him and let him speak. Have some respect, dork. Hey,
what that means is
you don't run precept.
Let him speak. Hey, shut up and let him speak, Isaac. Shut up and let him speak.
I'll proceed with the question.
Yes, I write a lot of papers on presuppositional.
Okay. So I'm curious, do you take the view that Jay takes, that all non-Christian worldviews are impossible?
Let me correct that. Jay takes the view that I hold. Jay, if you're watching.
Okay, but is that...
Of course I do. That's exactly what...
Okay, so I have a question about that view. So do you have an argument? Do you have an argument? Because at this point, I mean, it's hopeless talking to Tristan. I'll just talk to you. So we'll change the topic and talk about Christianity, I guess. Do you have actually an argument that all non-Christian worldviews entail a contradiction?
Yes, I do. I have 2 papers on that.
Well, you don't need the paper. You can just deliver the argument. It's okay.
Oh, yes. Let me just go ahead and straw man you. And will you just say yes or no for the rest of the conversation, and I'll just lead everything. Yeah.
Deacon, I'm interested to hear your argument if you have an argument for that view.
Yes, the view is that all other positions, when analyzed, okay, and I can go later into detail with those like I do in my paper, which requires going into detail, but in principle, every other worldview, which can be boiled down to several principles, cannot account for a minimum of 3 things required in order to sustain knowledge. One is coherence. The second one is explanatory power, and the third is juxtapository power. So I'm able to run through every worldview, okay, which boils down to only a limited possibilities as far as principles, and able to show that either they're incoherent, they fail to explain the appearances, or they lack justifications. And part of that can include contradictions. All of which cannot give a coherent or justificatory account for the criteria for the justification, for their justification criteria.
So,
position.
well, I mean, why is the idiot muting me? I'm trying to talk to this deacon.
No, you let him finish his point, man. Let him finish his point. Let him finish his point.
Respectful enough to talk to.
Oh, respectful, yeah, you know about
take
respect.
It that Tristan, just fuck off. I'm talking to this guy. So,
no, you're on my channel,
Deacon,
dork.
You're
on my channel, dork. Don't tell me to fuck off. I'll kick you. All right, Isaac's in the waiting room again. Isaac, listen, Isaac. If you want to come and discuss, on our channel, you want to come over here, you can have some respect, and you can let us speak.
Can you hear me, Deacon Ananias?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure what you're doing with your
I'm just working on my lighting.
Just trying to, yeah. The key is to get.
So Isaac, you're back. So what is your argument? What are you saying?
Well, right now I'm just asking a question of
Okay.
Deacon in the same way, like when I tried to ask you a question, you dodged.
And when I answered your question, with a question, which is perfectly valid in a debate.
Do
you don't understand that?
Do you think that allows me to determine what your view is on the thing I asked about?
No, you tried to define my view for me, is what you tried to do.
No, I asked if that's your view.
Well,
I didn't say that.
And
I asked if it is.
Okay.
You didn't answer. Is what you did.
Dude, I can't believe
you can. If you want, we can go to that.
No. Do you have a question for?
I was going to talk to Deacon about his.
You can talk to either one of us. Do you have a question to either one of us?
Well, if you'll answer, then I'll ask you my original question.
We're moving from, just so I'm clear, we're moving from ethics to religion now. Is that right?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, it depends.
You don't want to talk about ethics?
Well, it depends. So if Tristan's going to answer the question, then I'd still have an ethical question. But if he's going to stick to his prior position that he refuses, then I'd ask you some religious stuff. So I'll try Tristan, and if he dodges, then we can.
Hey, the trait. Hey, shut up for a second. The trait is.
If he dodges.
Can you answer questions too? Can you answer questions too? Are we allowed to ask you anything? Can we ask you anything? No, answer my question. Are we allowed to ask you any questions? Can we ask you questions, Isaac? Can I ask you a question? Can we ask you questions? I'm asking you. Can we ask you questions here?
I don't know. Maybe he would, but I'm not.
Can we ask you questions here? That's the question. Can we ask you questions, Isaac?
If you want to grant that you're now taking away the offer to ask you a question, I'll feel.
No, you can ask questions all you want, but can we ask you questions?
Okay.
Can we ask you?
I'm happy to answer questions as long as they're not asked to dodge, right? In fact, maybe we should talk about when
to dodge what? No. You came on our channel. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, I'm half your size. Oh no, wait a minute. I'm far bigger and far stronger.
Hold on.
than you.
Answer. Can I ask you a question, please? Is that okay? Is that permitted in your sparring?
If you want to grant that you're taking away the.
If I want to grant, I want to ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? Just answer that question.
Right.
Can I ask you a question? Can you answer that question?
You said I could ask.
Can I ask you a question, Isaac?
Right. So when you.
No. Can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Right. So
can we ask you questions? Yes or no?
When you said I could ask a question, you're taking that back now, and you want to ask a question, correct?
I already answered your question. Now can I answer yours? Can I ask you one?
No, I mean when I just came back to this call, you said, "Do you want to ask a question?" Now,
can I ask you a question, Isaac? Isaac, can I ask you a question?
If you want to make the honest statement that you're now taking away the offer,
Isaac, I'm asking you if I can. No, I'm asking you if I can ask you a question.
If you want to grant that you're taking away the offer to ask you a question, sure.
Yeah, you can ask me questions. Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Okay, so the question.
No, Isaac, can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Sorry, are you taking away?
Can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Taking away the
offer.
offer.
Isaac, can I ask you a question? Yes or no? Can I ask you a question, please? Isaac, let me ask you a question. You're muted, Isaac.
So just to be clear, I just mute. So when you mute me, I start talking to Avi. I don't really pay attention. So if you
I know. You don't pay attention. Can I ask you a question, Isaac?
If you need to get my attention when you've got me muted, just do this, and I can unmute.
Dude, Isaac, can I ask you a question?
What I said is that if you want to grant that you're now taking away the offer to ask you a question, and you instead want to ask one, if you want to just grant that, then
grant
sure.
what? No, I'm not granting. I told you I answered your question. Now can I ask you a question?
No, you told me I could ask a question right when I came back to this call a few minutes ago.
Oh, so
and I didn't ask a question yet. So
I'm not allowed to ask you.
Or are you taking that away?
Am I allowed to ask you a question? Am I allowed to ask you a question?
So as I said, I'm happy to answer your question, but first, you said that when I came into this call, you said that I can ask you a question. Now,
I said, what's your argument? I said, what's your argument? I asked you what your argument is.
You asked you said I could ask a question.
Yeah, you can ask a question.
Or not.
Go ahead.
Okay,
ask me a
question.
question.
Here's my question.
And then I'll answer your question. Hold up. Shut up for a second. When you ask you after you ask your question, Isaac, after you ask your question, can I ask you a question?
As long as it's not dodging, Tristan.
Dodging.
So
who defines dodging? Who gets to define what dodging is?
Let's see if we
wait. Can I ask you questions? Is that okay?
Maybe we can agree.
Can I ask you questions?
Maybe we can agree on what dodging is. So presumably, if someone asks a question, it ought be answered unless the thing that the other person is saying in response is something that's required in order to answer the question.
Okay,
so, for example, if I ask you what flubber jubber is or something like that, and you say, look, I can't answer. I need to know what flubber jubber is before I can answer whatever you're asking. Is flubber jubber red or something like that?
Okay.
That's fine. I'd accept something like that. If you say you don't understand a term in the question, if you say, I don't understand what the question means, can you clarify the question? But if you just ask an irrelevant question and you can't demonstrate that question is actually necessary to answer in order for you to answer my question, which of course you granted earlier is not the case when you said, I understand what you're asking, right? So you're not confused about the question, you're just dodging.
Dude, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the remix of this. I can't wait for the remixes. Hey, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, do you disagree with that, Tristan?
I'm just asking you if I can ask a question. I'm trying to get an answer. Can I ask questions?
The most dishonest person.
You said okay. So I'm asking you, dude. You have a question for me, and then what? What do you want?
Okay, so here's a question. Okay.
Can I ask you a question after that? Can I ask you a question after that?
As long as it's not a dodge. As long as it's not a dodge.
Okay, so you're dodging my question. Can I ask you a question?
Okay,
shut up and let me ask you. Shut up and let me ask you then. You're going to let me ask you the question. You're going to let me ask.
I'm happy to let you ask if you grant that you're taking away the offer that you made when I came in here to ask you the question.
I didn't make any offers when you came in here. In fact, I never offered you to come in here. I wanted you to come here because I wanted to see this. I wanted to put this. I wanted to put this on full display. And this is beautiful. And you've delivered. You've delivered perfectly, ask yourself. Can I ask you a question? You can ask me a question and I'll answer. But then directly after that, will you answer mine? Go ahead. Isaac, tell me, will you answer my question after you ask me a question? Please, Isaac.
I mean, do you think that he'll try to answer? We'll see.
I'm asking you a question.
And I told you that if you want to grant that you're in fact not allowing me to ask a question, and you are instead insisting I answer your question, then I'll answer it. But if
you want me to let you put words in my mouth and then I can answer the question? You put whatever words in my mouth you want.
Seems like it's what you're saying. Okay, so here's the question, Tristan. Okay. So my question is, do you hold the same view as Jay, which is that the trait is having a soul, right?
No.
Which is to say.
No, I don't know what trait you're talking about. We have to get. Hold on. All right, now. Okay. You asked the question. I say no. You asked the question. I say no. Now let me ask you a question. Okay. I asked you.
Wait, but you said you didn't understand the question.
No, I answered your question. I said no. Now let me talk.
Wait, you said you don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
Sorry, do you know what I'm talking about or not?
Can I ask a question?
No, you said
No, I don't know what you're talking
sorry.
about.
no.
No, I don't.
Wait, then let me clarify.
Hey,
I want an answer to the
sweaty,
question,
hey,
right?
sweaty Spurg. Can I ask you a question now? I said no. Now let me ask you a question.
No, I want to clarify the question you didn't.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah,
understand.
the answer is no.
Okay.
The answer is no. Now let me ask you a question.
So when you, just to be clear, when you say I don't know what the trait is, so what I'm talking about is what is it that's.
What?
Do you take the view that the thing that distinguishes animals from humans?
No. Now let me ask. No.
acceptable-
Now let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question?
So you don't. You just to be clear, I just want to make sure I'm getting a clear answer from you. You don't.
What?
You don't.
Huh?
You don't. Right.
What? I don't. What? What? Can I ask? Can I? All right. I answered your question. Hey, I answered your question.
Oh, I know.
The question
so
is,
cringy.
I asked you. I answered.
If I were to actually.
All right. So I answered the question. It's no. Now can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, please?
He won't let me do it.
I guess I can't ask him a question.
He
Wow.
wants me to unmute. One second.
No, I want to ask you a question. May I ask you a question?
Tristan, no, because
Isaac.
you may
Oh, I
not,
can't?
right?
Okay.
So
Go ahead. You just steamroll.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
sir.
So I'll clarify.
Oh,
the
yes,
reason you may
Isaac.
not is because I asked a question and you said no, but then you said that you don't actually understand the question. So I never got an answer to a question you understood. Right? So now I want to clarify the question and get an answer to it.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So when I say the trait, talking about, do you think that the thing that morally distinguishes an animal from a human, such that it's okay to stab one but not the other, is having a soul? Do you understand what's being asked there?
No, that's not what I said. No.
Oh, okay. All right. So in that case, what do you think makes a difference?
I answered your question. Now can I ask you a question now? I answered your question. I said no. Can I ask you a question?
Well, it seems like you're dodging the line of questioning, Tristan.
Huh?
Why won't you let me run my entire argument? Why won't you do that? Right?
What?
In fact, you know what? I'll let you go first. How about this, okay? What I want, if you give me a promise, Tristan, that you will actually let me complete.
Can we have promise rings? Can we do rings, like a ring promise? Can we do promise rings? I'll give you a promise ring. Can we do promise rings, please?
Clear commitment from you. That you're actually willing to allow me to complete my critique, then I'm happy to answer your questions first.
I answered your question.
I answered your question first.
Can we just have promise rings?
I'm not asking to be able to ask one question.
Can we have friendship rings or friendship bracelets?
Tristan,
I want friendship. Nobody can hear you again. I'm just going to turn you down. If we're going to do promises, I want rings, dude. I want commitment. I don't want just like this, this half-ass thing. I've been through this before. I've been hurt, right? I've had pain. I've had hard relationships. And if we're going to do promises, I want some sort of a physical token of it. And I want us to both have a ring. Or a necklace with like a heart and it's broken half. Can we do that? Can we do that?
He knows that if he allows me to just ask a direct line of questioning, he'll just fall apart, right? So he's kind of relying on things like the mute button or like being able to cut me off or whatever. Yeah, he's being quiet. He might be willing to answer. So Tristan, just to be clear, I will answer. In fact, here's a deal I'll make you. Okay.
You're gonna make a deal? Hold on. We're gonna make deals? Are we making deals?
Hey, Tristan, you want to stop being a sophist? It would be really nice, buddy.
Sophist?
Okay?
What's a sophist? Is that like a soft? What's a sophist? Is that like a coomer term? Is that like a pornography term? Like a cooming pornography term or something? Sophist? Excuse me. Isaac, can I ask you a question now? You said I could ask you a question. Can I ask you one? Hold on, I'm gonna go urinate. I'll let you and Father Deacon here. You just talk. You just talk. I'm gonna go pee, and then if I can ask a question when I get back. And the promise ring thing is really promising. I think that's a good idea. We're getting somewhere. We're really getting somewhere.
Okay,
I'll be back.
So just to be clear, now he wants me to talk to you. Okay, well you haven't seemed that bad. I mean, I don't know why you put up with that guy's bullshit, but let's try it. So what I was asking you, Father Deacon, before this whole thing happened. And by the way, I'd love to talk to you on a neutral platform, right? Where you don't have Tristan like basically hiding you with his little cucky mute button. That would be amazing. But so you take the view that all non-Christian worldviews are contradictory, but when you started explaining why, I didn't hear a clear syllogism.
I pulled even further that's why I don't want you to lump me with Christian views, because I actually
that's fine, but there's no lumping. Okay,
let
me deliver the critique though. Let me complete the critique, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Now you've said that. Thank you, I appreciate that, and I'll let you do the same, of course. Now, you've said that all non-Christian worldviews are contradictory. Now, setting aside whether you go further, whether you should be lumped in with all other Christians, and I'll just grant you shouldn't and that you do, okay? That's fine. We just grant that for the sake of argument. What I want to know is, what is the argument that all non-Christian worldviews are contradictory? And before answering that, actually. Oh, you don't hold that view. Okay, so you just
So I said that there's three things in order. So my argument on...
Oh, wait, you said, sorry, 1 sec, Deacon. You said that you go further than that. So what you actually meant is you don't go that far. You don't hold the view that all non-Christian...
No, I didn't actually say the argument simply relies on a contradiction.
Could I ask you to
validate itself without contradiction?
Could I get a clear answer to that, though? I just want a clear answer to that question, though. Do you take that view or not?
I didn't say that view. My view.
I didn't ask if you said it. I'm asking if you hold it. It's Jay's view. Jay takes this view.
Jay, what does Jay have to do with it?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You want to know about my view? Who cares about
I'm asking if you hold. I'm asking if you hold the same kind of view as him. I'm asking. It's a really simple question. It's just a yes or no.
Hey, just hold on. Nobody's going to be able to hear on the stream right now. He's going to keep going. Don't worry. He'll keep going. There's no end to it. He's got an endless tank of Spurgdom. If you guys enjoy these streams, support the dang stream. There's a link in the description for the Streamlabs. I'm going to read some Streamlabs now. Let's read some Super Chats. We've got Luthien the Mortal donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Says, AY, present your position. Yeah, story of tonight, right? I mean, this started out, we had Bart K, and this has turned into Ask Yourself Spurgatron malfunction, and I love it. Garland Farms donates $10 through Super Chat. There you go, Garland Farms. What's up, dude? You guys make sure to support Garland Farms. He's a grass-fed cattle rancher out there in Texas. Garland Farms has been doing this for a long time, regenerating soil. He's out there working on his farm to provide you guys with good quality food. So support local producers, support local food producers, and Garland Farms is one of those local food producers for you Texans. All you Texans out there, man, there's probably not a lot of Texans listening to this anymore. I don't think many Texans have the patience to hear Ask Yourselves games, but thank you for the Super Chat. Let's see if Ask Yourself wants to answer that. Isaac, do you have an answer to that?
You're saying.
Isaac, do you have an answer to that question?
Just to be clear, okay, so
Isaac,
he won't stop talking,
Isaac,
and you're talking at the same time, and I can't hear
the question, Isaac. The question is,
if you don't actually hold that view, then that's fair. I'm not gonna.
Okay, let's just.
I'm not gonna try to hold you to.
Okay.
Hold you to
Isaac, the question is, please ask the vegan, can you please name the trait present in wild animals that threaten crops, which, if present in farm animals, would justify killing farm animals? Go ahead.
Deacon, did you want to
No, wait, did you answer the question, please? Can you answer that question? Ask yourself. Will you answer? Are you going to answer?
Tristan, you're not involved right now.
I'm asking you a question. Do you want to answer?
I'm asking a question of Deacon. So, Deacon.
Oh, okay. Father Deacon Ananias is being asked a question, apparently. We're not allowed to speak. Excuse me. Let the Spurgs talk, and they will tell you when you're allowed to speak. Let them misrepresent whatever argument, straw man, they want to try to tear down in order to try to beat Jay. And yeah, I guess he's not going to answer that question, Garland Farms. I don't expect an answer from him.
Deacon, isn't it obvious to you that he is horrified to let me run a line of questioning on him? Right? He won't actually let me ask a line of questioning because he knows that he'll just get obliterated.
Hey, excuse me,
right?
what?
So
you have questions? You have questions, Isaac? Because you said
absolutely.
You said I could ask you a question, right? You said I could ask you a question.
Not only.
Can I ask you a question, Isaac?
Not only will I let you ask a question,
cool.
I will let you ask whatever questions you want.
Perfect.
As long as I get a commitment that you will let me complete my critique without running away after.
Running away? I'm asking you to just make a critique. Yeah. Make your critique. Go ahead. What's your critique?
Okay, now I expect you not to run away during the critique. So
No, you go ahead. Make your critique. I'm gonna shut up. I'll mute myself. Hey, hold on. I'll give you. Hold on. Isaac. Hold on. Isaac, hold on. Hold on. All right, Isaac. Do you want to make your critique? If you want to make your critique, I'm more than willing to let you make your critique. If you want to make your critique, Isaac. Excuse me, Isaac.
Now the first question of the critique.
No, Isaac. Hold on, Isaac.
The first question.
Isaac. Let me make
the first
Isaac.
question.
Isaac.
The first question.
Isaac.
The first.
Isaac.
The first question of the critique would be, what do you think it is that is true of animals that, if true of humans, would make it okay in your view to stab them in the throat? That's the first question.
Great. And my reply is, in order for us to have a conversation about ethics and morality, we're going to have to determine how we... Oh, no. Do you want to let me answer? Would you like me to answer?
Are you saying what the distinction is, Tristan?
Would you like
or are you dodging?
Would you like me to answer?
Oh, I would love it, but you won't. You'll hide, right? Because if I actually force you to answer, you'll fail.
Okay. I don't...
Why don't you stop hiding like a little bitch, and why don't you answer the question?
Hiding. What am I hiding from, Isaac?
You're hiding from the line of questioning that you know, if you allow me to run without muting me, will make you look like a fucking retard. Now, here's the question. What is it that's true of animals that, if true of humans, cause you to say it's ethical to stab them in the throat?
Oh, human beings are made in the image and likeness of God.
Okay, now, what is the argument?
Hold on. We got...
Speak out.
Hold on.
Come and speak to someone. Make friends within the vegan community.
We've got some super chats here. Let's read some super chats. We got a couple questions on super chats too.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. We've got... Thank you for the super chat. That was not Michelle Lowe. That was super chatting. That was just her speaking. Deputy Dave donates £5. Says, I am stuck in Isaac's basement. Please send help. Joshua donates $5. Says, I want to know how many times he cooms a week. I'm guessing Isaac. How many times per week?
Okay, so the question that I was asking.
Isaac. Hold on. Will you answer a question, please? You're dodging, Isaac. You're dodging the question. Isaac. I'm gonna have to mute you. The question is, how many times do you coom per week, Isaac? Go ahead and answer the question. How many times per week? It's just a simple number.
You're gonna hide? You're gonna run away like a little bitch, Tristan?
Excuse me.
Here is the question. Hopefully this time you.
All right. I'm not sure if he's going to answer that. So Luthien the Mortal donates $4.99 through Super Chat. Says, AY, present your position. Go ahead.
Yeah,
what's your position?
Keep hiding, Tristan. Okay.
I'm hiding?
So if you'll allow me to ask a question without hiding, the question is, what's true of animals that, if true of humans, would allow...
Made in the image and likeness of God. Now, I answered your question. Now, can I answer your... Can you answer my question?
No, you're trying to hide again.
How am I hiding? I want to ask you a question.
You won't let me complete the critique. You won't let me complete the...
What?
You'll just hide. You know if you let me run it, you'll get fucked. That's what you're doing. You know it, don't you? If you let me speak and complete my points, you get fucked in the ass. That's what happens here.
You've been speaking.
Why don't you let me run the argument, you fucking coward?
You've been
speaking.
You
gonna do it? You gonna hide?
You've been speaking. Excuse me, can I talk? Can I talk on my channel? Am I allowed to talk?
If you want to answer the question, right?
I can only talk if I'm going to answer the question. So.
Oh, what? Yeah, you're gonna hide.
No.
You're gonna hide again, Tristan?
Can I please? Can I please answer the question? Can I please answer the question?
Well, do you know what the follow-up question is? I bet you don't. I bet you're just rambling.
You want me to ask? You want me to tell you what your question is?
You don't know what the follow-up is. You're an idiot, dude. You're fucking
I find that hilarious. So.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, what's your point? Go ahead.
1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm happy to do it.
You're going to overturn 4,400 years of philosophy.
What I was asking of you, you hiding again behind the mute button, you little bitch?
Excuse me?
No, you're not. I'll repeat myself. I asked, are you hiding behind the mute button, you little bitch? That's what I asked.
Is that your question? That's your question to me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Wait. I don't understand the question. What is it? What's the question?
Hiding behind.
What?
Hiding behind Joe.
This is scared, man. You guys are. This is killing me.
This is ridiculous.
Right. He's just a coward. He knows if he lets me ask the questions, he gets fucked.
I
so
asked,
he has to hide.
you asked
He'll
the
hide
questions.
behind the mute button. He'll hide behind humor. He'll hide behind super chats. I mean, I'm surprised you're letting me talk this much, because this is enough that if this gets across, you look fucking stupid to everyone.
Okay.
Right?
What is
Tristan,
your argument? Do you have an argument?
Right. Okay. So the first question, which you've now answered, was, what is it? I hope you let me complete the sentence before hiding, right? Let's see if you can do that. So the first question, which you answered, was, what is it that's true of animals that, if true of humans?
Yeah, made in the image and likeness of God.
Okay. Now, there's two pathways we could go down from here, but I'll pick this one, okay? What is the argument that God even exists, Tristan? And don't bitch out and rely on your buddy.
What is the argument that morality exists, Isaac?
Oh, you hiding behind a question? You little coward? You want to answer? You think you look good to your audience right now, Tristan?
What is the evidence? What type of evidence?
You're not hiding right now.
Can you let me? Why won't you let me answer questions, Isaac?
Oh, I'd love you to. Please. What is
the evidence that God exists? Is what you're asking me?
What's the argument? Yeah.
God is necessary for the existence of morality, ethics, right or wrong, to even argue a position. You require the existence of God to even argue to even say that I should answer your questions. You're assuming that morality exists. You're assuming that there is an ought. And for there to be an ought, you require something outside of your own personal preference. You require something outside of Isaac. Ask yourself, the King Coomer. You require something other than Coomer Isaac's brain, right, to justify morality, objective truth.
Okay.
Oughts.
All right. You want the response? Okay.
No.
Are you taking the view that?
Can I ask you questions now? Can I ask you a question, please?
Oh, you want to dodge the critique some more, Tristan, or you want to let me keep going?
No, I'm just
going to keep hiding like a little bitch, or do you want to let me keep going and see if you can survive?
Oh, you're so good at arguing.
Right,
Go ahead.
Right,
you're so good at debate. Go ahead.
You look almost a little scared.
All right.
I'm frightened.
Tristan,
I'm really frightened.
You're going to hide behind your buddy again here? Is he going to come in? Okay, now
you are the poor geek
hiding behind the mute button.
Dude, I don't know. You're just
there's the mute button hide. Classic Tristan move.
No, I didn't
Tristan,
mute you. That was actually a super chat. Hold on, I'm going to read the super chats. I got a super chat here. Jared Bear donates $5. Says, are you bitching behind a webcam, you little hide? I guess he's talking to me. Yeah, I'm so scared. Thank you, Jared Bear, for that super chat.
Okay, now if you wanna stop hiding behind the super chats, Tristan, or hiding behind humor, or hiding behind the mute button.
What am I hiding from? What am I hiding from?
Oh, what you're hiding from with this very question right now is from me directly pressing you with a critique that will humiliate you.
What?
That's what you're hiding from, Tristan.
What?
Well, why don't we find out? Let's continue, okay? Now, are you taking the view that God is a necessary being? So he's necessary for all these things. I assume you're taking the view he's a necessary being.
Huh?
No.
No, I'm not talking to you, Deacon. I'm asking Tristan a question. Don't hide behind him.
No, why do you keep trying to make up?
Okay,
Why do you keep?
okay,
look, dude, you keep trying to make up an argument for me. You keep trying to. No, all right. So I'm gonna put him in the waiting room. You can go to the waiting room for a second. So, all right. Anyways, Father Deacon Doctor Ananias.
We can get him to answer. Here we go.
Hey, Isaac.
So Tristan, did you want to stop hiding like a little bitch, or you want to hide and call it a night? If you want to go, you can flee.
I guess you is that what you want? It seems like you sure want that. You sure want me to.
No, I mean I'm good to go. I'm happy to just stomp you for as many hours as you want, dude. I got the time.
Well, I'm wondering if there's an argument. I'm wondering if there's an argument.
Well, if you recall where we're at in the dialectic, you invoke the trait being made in the image of God. So the question to you is, what is the argument that that we require God? Now,
why should I? Here's my question. Can I answer?
No,
I can't answer.
You can stop dodging. Yeah,
I can't answer.
Flee behind the mute button. You gonna hide again?
I'm asking if I can answer you a question.
It sounds like you're trying to hide again, Tristan. So I'll just complete what I was gonna say before you started trying to hide yet again, right? Now, you said God is necessary for certain things, right? So I thought maybe I can save some time and just ask him if he thinks God is necessary generally, right? So
absolutely. No, you can't have any of this. God is the creator of all things, visible and invisible.
Okay, now please also observe that.
Am I allowed to ask you questions? Can I ask you questions? Are we just doing an interrogation? Is this an interrogation? Is this an interrogation or a debate?
Right now it is, because I don't think you can handle it. I think that you have to flee, because you know if I get to push, you're just going to fail, right?
Push what?
If you think you can
you won't let me speak.
You think you can handle the interrogation.
You won't let me
then
speak.
I'll keep going. But if you want to hide, you can do that.
Am I allowed to?
Well, actually,
am I allowed to talk? Am I allowed to talk, Isaac?
Is that you're gonna hide behind that again?
I'm asking you if you have an argument, dude. You're telling me that there's a moral imperative.
Right. You're trying to derail from the critique.
Derail.
Now,
what?
Well, yeah. Why don't you let me continue instead of trying to hide?
Okay, go ahead and continue. Let's see where you go with this. Where are you going with this, buddy?
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'll also just point out that when I asked you, is God a necessary being, and you started actually answering the question, you'll notice my mouth went zip. The second you're actually addressing the point and not hiding, I'm in silence, my dude. Now,
my dude. All right, I'm your dude. I'm your dude. Am I your dude? Call me your dude again. That's really cool. Can you call me your dude again?
Gonna hide behind humor again? Is that another dodge there? Flee, hovering on the mute button there, Tristan.
Huh?
Oh, scared I'm gonna wreck you. Now, you said that God is necessary, right? So I take that to mean that there is a contradiction entailed by the non-existence of God. So what's that contradiction, Tristan?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
Almost looks like you don't have an answer. Oh, you don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're even asking me. No, I don't even know what you're asking.
Sure. Why don't I? Why? Oh, it's almost like you don't have an answer. So why don't I repeat the question? Okay.
Yeah.
You said God is necessary.
Okay.
So I'm asking you, what contradiction is entailed by his non-existence?
What contradiction is entailed by God's non-existence? So you need a contradiction? You need that.
If you say something is necessary,
a contradiction.
That means logically necessary. Right?
Yeah. No. What is logic? What is logic? Can you prove to me that logic exists?
No,
I'm serious. Will you prove to me that logic exists? What is logic?
Behind the mute button again, Tristan.
What is logic, Isaac?
Are you going to keep hiding, or are you going to let me run the critique, Tristan?
No, I'm getting bored with you're not doing anything. You're not saying anything.
You just want to hide, or do you want to try to answer the critique?
I want you to tell me what logic is.
It's almost like the second that I get you in a corner where you can't answer something.
What?
Right? You start doing the fake laugh. You start doing the super chats. You start trying to ask me questions. Right? My worldview could be total bullshit. A Christian could ask you these same questions. Right? I could be fucking some completely contradictory moron, right? You asking me what my view is beside the point. Oh, admitting some other people to hide behind. Classic.
No, this is not
classic.
We've got call-ins, dude. We're doing call-ins.
Do you want to?
Right, let's put him back in the waiting room.
So the question, as it was before, is what contradiction is entailed by the non-existence of God?
The logic, reason, truth. Right and wrong.
Those are nouns.
Morality.
Those are nouns.
All of those depend. All of those depend on the existence of the metaphysics. All those depend on the existence of something outside of Isaac's coom brain. Okay.
Where do morals and ethics come from in a world without a God?
Are you going to hide behind this guy, or can I address what you
No, nobody's hiding behind everybody. This is open lines, dude.
It's
not about you. I know you think it's always about you, but this is open lines.
Grateful. Look, there's the mute. Right? There you go again, hiding, right? Like a little bitch. Now, Tristan, what you just said, as far as I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, right? You're saying, I asked, what's the contradiction that's entailed by God's non-existence? And you went on and said something about God is necessary for logic or truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, do you understand what a contradiction is, Tristan? Because what you just said,
no, the contradiction.
Not a contradiction.
What I'm just telling you is you are a living contradiction. You stand on.
There's the non-answer. There's the dodge.
You won't let me. So you won't let me speak. This is the thing.
Well, you're dodging. Why don't you answer the question
what am I dodging?
Instead of hiding?
What is the contradiction?
Is?
Yes, I know what a contradiction is.
Okay, define it formally. Okay.
Define it formally.
Oh, there's the laugh. Right, there's the laugh and the dodge.
You want me to define contradiction formally?
You could just admit that you don't know what a contradiction is.
No, you are a walking contradiction. You are a living
there's
contradiction.
Another statement that's not defining it. You're just saying some shit about me, right? Let's say I'm a contradictory moron. Who cares? It's irrelevant, right? Do you know what a contradiction is, Tristan?
Let's say I don't know what a contradiction is. I'm a contradictory moron. Let's say that everything is nobody knows anything except Isaac. Now, what is your argument?
Just dodging.
What is your argument?
Here's the dodge, right? Now, you might notice that you're the one.
What is the argument here?
You might
What's the
notice
argument?
that here's the dodge, right? Here's you trying to dodge by asking me questions, right? Now, Tristan, can you actually handle the line of questioning, or are you going to try to grab the line of questioning and run your own? Because you know that I'll just corner you if you let me talk, right?
I'm listening, Isaac. I'm listening. Go ahead.
We're all listening.
You know what? I actually appreciate that, but I hope, and you know, if you're going to be reasonable, then sorry for being a dick to you, but I hope that you won't give this guy cover, okay? I really want him to actually grapple with what's being said instead of hiding behind people, super chats, fake laughter, and other garbage, asking questions that aren't necessary to answer my questions, etc. Right? I really hope
Isaac, you get to go back in the waiting room, fag. Hey, so are we able to? So can I ask you a question, Isaac? Can I finally ask you a question?
He's letting me back. I'm gonna mute.
Hey, Isaac.
Give them the link so you can watch.
Hey there, Isaac.
You know, okay, Tristan, are you gonna keep hiding, or did you want to try to answer the question?
Hiding from what?
Contradiction.
Okay. I'm not going to. There's no reason to answer a loaded question. Why?
Oh, you're gonna hide from the question?
Isaac,
you won't let me answer
coming
the question.
across as someone who just wants to insult.
You're gonna hide behind
You're just insulting. You're just insulting over and over. You're insulting him.
Trying to avoid.
Can you debate without insults? You can't debate without insults.
Right?
Why are you trying to insult him every time you turn around?
I answered.
Do you realize whose live stream you're on, Isaac? Isaac, do you realize whose live stream you're on? Are you just showboating for your vegan friends?
Isaac.
Are you showboating for your vegan friends that you have on Discord?
This is what he does.
You can't stop trying to show off for your friends long enough.
There's the mute
to have a debate.
Little Tristan hiding again.
It's on my stream.
Remember, you can't actually debate.
Whose stream is it?
Keep hiding, Tristan. You want to try to grapple with the critique.
You have to preface every question with an insult.
There is no critique.
You have to preface every question with an insult.
Super chats hide behind.
Every question that you ask is an insult.
How about you answer? Just gonna hide? You gonna let this guy talk for you?
You have to insult before
you little
and
bitch, not man enough to challenge me yourself. You're gonna hide behind this guy?
Isaac, I'm right here, dude. I'm waiting for you to actually engage with me in a conversation.
I'm happy to.
You want to play this stupid
here's
little...
the question.
Here's
the question. Oh, you're gonna hide again? Okay, yeah.
Hide? Oh, you're gonna hide? You're gonna hide? You think you're winning this? You think this is how you...
Sure seems like it.
You think you're actually winning?
Now, if you want to answer the question is what contradiction is entailed by God's non-existence? Now, you don't have an answer, so are you going to hide behind the super chat, behind this guy, behind a fake laugh?
So
you want to try to answer
your point here is you're here to disprove God, right? You're here to disprove the existence of God.
Nope. I'm asking you to prove your claim that God's a necessary being by explaining what contradiction is entailed by his non-existence.
And I just told you.
Okay, and I'm now asking you, do you understand what a contradiction is? Because what you deliver...
All right, I got a super chat here from Luthien the Mortal. Luthien the Mortal donates $4.99 through super chat, and he says, Isaac hasn't left his room because of Canada liberal lockdown. He's been cooming so much his brain is melted. Sounds about right. Got another super chat. Jessica C just donated $7.12. $7.12 via super chat. Says, ask yourself is being very disrespectful. You have a lot of patience. I mean, it's very entertaining to me. The guy, he's making a bigger fool of himself than he's ever made publicly that I've seen.
Tristan, did you want to answer the question? Or are you gonna?
We got a super chat here for Eli Hernandez. $2 through super chat. Says, ISAC 11 Fact Pro. ISAC 11 Fact Pro. I like that. That's a good one. So anyways,
yeah. Oh, are you done hiding?
You're
I'm
trying
ready to ask you a question if you're done hiding.
You just want
done hiding?
Source of vegan ethics.
You're gonna hide behind this guy now?
What is the source
so can I ask you a question?
Can I ask?
You have a question, Isaac.
I think it's been like 2 hours.
Are you hiding behind this guy, or can I get an answer to my question?
I'm asking
Isaac,
you a question.
You won't let us
Isaac,
speak.
Answer my question.
Tristan,
what is the source of vegan ethics?
You gotta hide behind the mute button and your button.
You can't.
How cringe is that? Imagine being scared of me, Tristan. You're scared of me.
You are all people.
So
you are
scared.
a punk.
Just imagine that. What kind of reality are you living?
Imagine. Look,
you gotta invite
Isaac.
I bet you're too. I bet you're too of a bitch. Oh, there you go. Hiding. Mute button. As per usual. Won't answer the question. Just hide behind the mute button, Tristan.
Dude, Isaac, you said I could ask you questions. Isaac, can I ask? Am I allowed to ask you questions?
Oh, now
too?
You're trying to hide.
Oh, so
now you're hiding behind questions?
So Isaac,
what are you going to hide behind? This guy?
When Isaac asks a question, apparently it's debating. When I answer his question, he says it's deflecting. When I ask him a question, he says it's hiding. Where's the logic there? What kind of a debate is this? I'm not allowed to ask any questions. When I answer his question, he could just say it's a deflection. And then when I ask him a question, he'll say that I'm hiding. And this guy, for the last 2 years, he has been obsessed with Jay and I, especially Jay. He's got a really big chip on his shoulders from what Jay did to him. And he's look at the eyes, look at the face. Look at this Coomer pale spurred face with his big ass grapefruit looking eyelid bags. He's so obsessed with us, but he can't even engage in a conversation. It's been 2 years he's been begging for this. And this is how he treats it. This is what he does. It's been 2 years. All right, Luthien the Mortal. What's up, Luthien? Luthien the Mortal says, $4.99 through Super Chat. Imagine being scared of me. Isaac just BTFO himself.
Gonna answer a question, Tristan?
Okay, so he's still going. We'll see how long. We'll see how long he'll do that for. So I guess we'll mute him for a second. Garland Farms has almost as much patience as Father Deacon Dr. Ananias, who, ask yourself here, was very disrespectful too. I don't know. Let's see. Garland Farms, you got anything to say? You got any questions or things to say to the audience? Or
Tristan, did you want to produce? You're just gonna hide?
Here, we'll
you gonna hide, or did you want to try to deal?
We'll put him in the waiting room for a second. We'll put the we'll put the bot over there in the waiting room. That's allowed. Hey Isaac, can we reboot? You want to reboot? Go ahead, reboot. Hey Isaac, how you doing?
Sorry, 1 second. Can you hear me, Tristan?
Yeah. Sorry, just wanted to reboot real quick. You there?
Okay. So we're gonna try again. Okay. Yeah. Here, let me just get my recorder over here. I've recorded all of your hiding here.
Perfect.
All of my
perfect. Yeah.
So everyone can see what you're
I'm hiding. Yeah. What am I hiding from again?
Yeah. This question.
Okay. So let me ask you your question first. Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you. Can I ask you your question now? You said I could ask you questions earlier.
You can ask me questions after you produce an answer to the series of questions I'm asking you, or concede that you can't react to the line of questions.
Okay, can I ask you a question first, though, before you ask me a question?
That you've been dodging.
Can I ask you a question first?
The question that you've been dodging is...
Why can't I ask you a question?
What contradiction is entailed by God's non-existence, Tristan?
That's not even my argument, dude. Why can't I ask you a question?
Oh, no, you said that God is a necessary being, right?
Yes, no, God is
logically necessary.
Absolutely. And denying God, and the fact that you're...
Do you understand?
No, listen. You're going to let me explain? I can't speak? Can I speak? Can I speak? You're going to reboot? You're going to reboot? Can I speak?
What? You said God's necessary, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For morals, for right and wrong, for there to be an ought, God is necessary.
To say God's necessary is to say that a contradiction is entailed by his non-existence.
No.
What?
To say God is necessary. Shut up for a second. God is necessary for the very preconditions that you require to be able to ask a question. God is necessary for there to be morality, for there to be right or wrong, for there to be objective morality, for there to be objective truth. You require something outside of Isaac's Coomer brain to determine what is right or wrong. So you pretend like there is right or wrong, yet you want to deny it.
Just to be clear, you want to answer instead of hiding? Tristan,
I just answered.
To be clear,
I just answered.
You take, there's more to follow, right? You don't get to just answer one and then run for the hills like a little cowardly rat, right? I'm hoping you can actually address the whole critique instead of fleeing like a coward, right?
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Now,
go ahead,
when you, just to be clear,
go ahead,
you will concede that there's no contradiction entailed by God not existing. Will you admit that?
No, I don't know what you can't put words
in. Okay, then what's the contradiction?
What contradiction? What are you saying?
Oh, it's almost like you're completely fucked, Tristan. Okay, so I'll ask you again, right? Will you concede that no contradiction is entailed by God not existing?
That's your argument?
Oh, No, that's a question.
That's your argument?
You don't know what an argument is. An argument is a set of premises and conclusion. You're obviously too stupid to know any formal logic. The question, Tristan, it's a question, not an argument, is will you concede that there's no contradiction entailed by God not existing?
Well, I concede. No, I'm not going to concede any of your silly little
Okay,
frame game.
then what is the argument? Show me. What's, in fact, just before an argument.
Can I
just
ask
tell me.
questions? Can I ask questions too?
No, you can answer the line of
I
questioning.
can't ask
that you're trying to
questions?
Scurry
Okay,
away
reboot.
From. You're going to
Reboot.
scurry into the gutter, Christian?
Scurry into the
Kristen?
gutter. Scurry into the
Yeah, it
gutter.
seems like that's what you're doing, because you know if you let me run the critique, you get fucked, right? I take my dick, I bend you over and just insert it in that ass and just fucking smack you, right? That's what happens if you actually talk to me.
Dude, you have a disgusting mind. You have a disgusting Coomer mind, and you're out of here, dude.
You have
a disgusting Coomer-addled mind.
That's fine. Yep.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
That's fine. Yep,
You have no argument.
Whenever you're ready,
All you do is
to deal
insult.
with the critique, I'm waiting. I'm happy to fucking destroy you whenever.
You've destroyed nothing. You destroyed nothing except the little bit.
There's the mute
You've
button.
destroyed nothing except yourself
the mute
over and
button.
over again, dude.
Where you gonna kick me, Tristan? You gonna hide? Or
See,
do you want to
that's
deal
what
with the
you
critique?
want, because then you could think that you win, and this is what you do every time.
Scurry away. You're gonna.
I've
scurry
answered
away
all your
like a
questions,
little
dude.
Rodent. Oh, okay, great. So why don't you produce an answer to this question, Tristan?
Am I allowed to
You
answer
said-
questions? Can I answer questions?
No, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Can
So
I ask
here's the
questions
question,
too?
right?
Can I ask questions
Nope,
also?
You're welcome. Nope, you're welcome to.
I can't
answer
ask
the
questions?
question that you're scurrying
I'm
away
only
from
allowed
like
to
a
answer
little rat,
questions here, right?
Tristan.
I can only answer
So
questions.
Take your little ratty mind.
Yeah.
Focus it on the
Oh, my
conversation.
ratty mind. You're the one who's just humping the
Oh,
air.
there's the
You're the
mute
one who's just
button.
fantasizing about sodomy.
Oh, he's hiding again.
Fantasizing about
Again.
sodomy, dude.
Oh,
Putting your
there's the
pee-pee and
hide.
poo-poo.
You gonna mute? You gonna mute or you gonna answer, you little bitch? You gonna answer? So here is the question, Tristan. You said that a contradiction is entailed by God's non-existence, right? I asked you. Will you just concede there's no contradiction?
You won't let me.
No,
You won't
okay?
let me. You won't
Now,
let me answer. You won't let me
what?
speak. You won't let me speak.
Oh, I will absolutely let you answer.
Okay, then shut
What-
up. So then shut up.
Okay, and
Shut up and let me speak. Can I
make
speak?
sure you're saying what the contradiction
No,
is.
you only
That's
want me to
the
say
answer
what
to the question, Tristan.
The fact. You want me to say what you want.
More humor dodge, right?
Humor.
You can't do a straight up
humor for the Coomer. Hey, sodomite. Hey, you disgusting little Coomer-addled faggot. Hey, ask yourself, you disgusting little weasel. Here's my answer. Here's my answer.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Here's my answer. You require God for morality, logic.
I heard this
truth.
repeating yourself.
You're trying to base your argument on logic and morality.
I've heard all this.
Excuse me.
And replied to all of
No,
it.
you haven't replied to anything.
You haven't
haven't
hear the
replied
reply?
to anything.
Here, look, I heard what you said. When I ask what's the contradiction, you say God is necessary for truth, God's necessary for objective morality, God's necessary for logic. You can't have any of that without God, right? That's your answer, or am I getting it wrong?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot have logic without God. You can't have morality without God. You can't have truth without God.
So do you want to hear the problem with that answer, Tristan? I'll repeat it for you since your little brain didn't manage to catch it the first time.
What is your argument? What is your argument, dude? What is your argument?
So wait a second. It's not an argument. I'm not delivering premises and a conclusion right now. I understand
what's
you
your
don't know
argument?
the first thing about formal logic. That's fine, right? So
No.
just don't use
What's
words
your
like
argument?
argument when you don't know what they mean.
You have
don't know
nothing
what
but
words like that
insults.
mean,
All
so
you've got
just
is
forget
insults.
that.
All you've got is insults.
Well, if you want to hear the reply to what you just said.
Go ahead. What's your argument?
I asked, just try to follow. I'm sure you can make it through.
You won't give an argument. Go ahead.
Oh, I will if you'll just let me talk. Okay. Well, there's questions before an argument, but the question initially.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Tristan, I'll walk you through the whole thing, and we'll get right up to this
Okay,
answer you just gave.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
Now, the first thing that I asked was, what's the trait? You said being made in God's image, right? I said, okay, so what's the argument that God exists? And then you say, you said all this stuff about he's necessary for logic, necessary for this, necessary for that. I said, okay, Tristan, do you take the view that he's a necessary being? You said, yes. I say, okay, Tristan, what contradiction is entailed by his non-existence? Now, your reply to that, which you just told me, I characterized.
Listen to this straw man. All you have is a giant straw man.
Sorry, what did I say there that's a straw man? What did I say there that's not
Everything is a straw man that you just presented here.
Wait, sorry, what's the straw man?
Can I ask you a question now, Isaac?
No. If you think I'm being
I can't ask you any
what's the straw
questions.
man?
What is your entire argument that you just...
If you want to ask questions, dude, you can admit that you can't deal with the critique. Then I'm happy to take your question.
There it is. Yet again, another reboot.
But telling vegans that they've been brainwashed is actually just one of the gaslighting techniques I want to highlight.
Michelle Lowe. All right. I mean, I don't know how many more hours we can go with this. This dude is legit. He's legit broken. You're legit broken, dude. And you have a disgusting mind. You have a disgusting little Coomer brain. We'll let him... One more time, we'll say bye to Isaac here. Let's see. One more time to Isaac. We'll just say goodbye. Let's see. He'll reboot one more time. Reboot one more time. Here he goes. Reboot. Reboot.
Ever start talking on me since it happens? He's got me back again.
Reboot. Reboot. All right. Hey Isaac. If you're not gonna actually bring an argument, if you're not gonna let me actually explain my position, if you're not gonna let me speak, if you're not gonna let me actually give you my answers or ask you any questions, if I can't ask you any questions, what's the point, dude? You can just your name is Isaac.
Whatever excuse you want.
Your name is so apt, right? Ask yourself, because all you do is talk to yourself.
You want the critique or you want to hide, Tristan? Critique or hide?
Yeah. It's all hiding, right? It's all hiding.
Yeah. You won't let me run the critique.
Can I ask you any questions?
If you want to admit that you can't reply to the critique, sure. But if not, then I'm going to ask you.
I can't ask you questions, and when you ask a question,
not unless you want to admit that you can't address the critique.
Can I ask you something? Tristan. Can I ask you something?
Nope, not unless you want to admit.
Can I ask you any questions at all?
Nope, not until you admit that you can't address it.
Okay.